introduction slash description about your company globally?
Yes, I'm with OCI Solar Power, and we're a subsidiary of OCI Company, which is based in Seoul, Korea. And OCI Company is one of the world's largest manufacturers of polysilicon, which is the primary material that goes into solar PV panels. And the subsidiary, OCI Solar Power, is based in the United States, and we develop utility-scale solar projects.
Oh, I see. So by being silicon manufacturing company, how much influence do you think OCI has to the solar industry nowadays?
Well, I think there's still a lot of influence that the polysilicon companies have. They're making the primary material that goes into the ingots and wafers and eventually the cells and modules. And they also set the quality standards. So having the high quality polysilicon is critical to the actual electricity output of the panel itself.
Okay. As you can see, domestically, I mean, economy is not the best it can be, and maybe because of recessions and everything else, it just seems to many people's common sense that new energy industry is not as good business to start with. But do you see a potential with the solar industry as, I mean, do you see it as key to be the key to create new jobs around the U.S. and do you see any kind of potential with it?
Yeah, I see a lot of potential, and I think that's the purpose of the summit here in Nevada. But the U.S. industry is poised for growth right now, and with the increasing requirements for solar power, as well as some of the advances in technologies and the changes in pricing, solar power is in a good position to enter several years of very high growth. And the U.S. can compete with other countries on manufacturing many of the components that are required for a solar plant. Not just the module, but there's other components required as well, such as the inverter and the tracker.
OCI, as I know, OCI has been not well known because of its type of industries to the citizens, but it is one of the biggest companies around the world, such as maybe not so much heard of in the US, but even in Asia, the stock prices are really high. And I guess what I'm curious about was how did OCI's, what did OCI do in strategically to get better than Waker from Germany, Hemlock, or LDK, or any other silicon manufacturing industries?
Well, I think, OCI, I think those other companies you mentioned are in its peer group. There's a few major players in the polysilicon business, as well as a lot of smaller players. But OCI and its peer group have distinguished themselves by making the necessary capital investment and focusing on the quality of the polysilicon. And that's really what they've done. OCI also made a strategic decision to invest in the renewables business. And that was one of their reasons for investing in a company in the United States that does solar development.
Do you have any, does OCI have any thoughts about maybe expanding domestically as well as internationally?
Yeah, I mean, on the polysilicon side, it's hard for me to speak to that because the manufacturing team in Korea makes those decisions and the leadership team. The next two plants that they will be building, that OCI will be building for polysilicon, are going to be in Korea. And after that, I think it will be driven by global demand in terms of how they make their decisions. On the solar power front, we have significant plans to expand our solar generation facilities in the United States.
I see. Finally, how would you rate this Global Solar Summit event, and what would you benefit from this networking that or a lot of great politicians or other people within your industry?
Well, I think the summit has been a great success. We're only halfway through it, but the level of leadership from companies, solar manufacturers, from utilities, from the state and local governments, it's a group of decision makers that also have the same vision. So I think that's been very useful. And as we think through approaches for Nevada to become a more significant player in solar power generation, but also in solar manufacturing, it's critical that this group of people be in the same room and get a chance to talk through their ideas and build relationships.